Hello and welcome to another edition of Lab Matters, a webcast from Kaspersky Lab. My guest today is David Lenoe, head of Adobe's Product Security Incident Response Team. David, the issue of targeted attacks is in the news a lot these days, and of course Adobe's name gets called because vulnerabilities in Adobe Reader and Adobe Flash in many cases are being used. Just talk to me a little bit about what goes on in your world when these things happen. Let's say a high-profile victim is targeted, gets compromised, the report comes into you. Give me a walkthrough of what happens next.
Sure. So our team, my team focuses on the response side, but I roll up to a team that actually focuses on security as a whole. So we have a proactive team that focuses on doing things like threat modeling, fuzzing, and code analysis, making sure our products are secure before they're released. That's right. Right. So if in the event of a vulnerability or an exploit in the wild being reported, our product teams plug into our PSERT process, which basically involves getting analysis of the issue, getting it fixed, getting the fix tested, and rolling the fix out as quickly as possible. At the same time, we're sharing information on the underlying vulnerability with partners who can detect the vulnerability in the wild before it gets to customers. In the interim where we don't have the fix available.
What prompts? What goes into the decision making to go out of band and an emergency release versus waiting for whenever you've had it scheduled?
Right. Yeah, it's something that we take very seriously and put a lot of consideration into because there is a cost to distributing updates. At the same time, we want to make sure our customers are secure as possible. So, in large part, if there's an exploit in the wild, we'll either plug it into an upcoming update if it's in the near term, if there's an update scheduled within the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, we will roll our process and put out a out-of-band release, which generally we try to get it out within a week or two, and we've had pretty good success releasing the last two FlashPlayer issues within a few days.
A few days. You're also getting a lot of vulnerability reports from regular bug finders and vulnerability finders who plug into different processes, whether it's going through one of the bounty programs or whether it's coming directly to you. You're getting a lot of those. What percentage of vulnerabilities and these zero-day issues you're tackling would you say comes from actual live attacks?
Right.
So it's very minute, small?
It's a very small percentage, a couple of percentage points. The vast majority that we get are disclosed to us directly by researchers, by partners, by customers. And we really appreciate all the work that researchers do, as well as customers and partners as well. It really helps a lot. More eyes on the product helps our customers, basically.
You mentioned information sharing being an important part of your incident response release process. Talk a little bit about what MAP has meant to you, the Microsoft Active Protections Program.
Right. Yeah,
what that is and how useful that's been for you in terms of getting.
Yeah, so Adobe participates in the Microsoft Active Protections Program. MAP, otherwise known as MAP. So MAP has been in place for a few years. Adobe started participating in the fall of last year. We're the first third party who's joined on the vulnerability sharing side, so information coming from us. We channel that through the MAP channels to get to partners who develop antivirus protections, intrusion prevention.
IDS,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So
what kind of information are you pushing out to them? Yeah.
So it comes in a variety of forms. For most responsible disclosures, what we'll do is we'll include information on the vulnerability and how it might be detected in a file format. So sometimes, or oftentimes, there's a way to easily look for certain part of the stream within the product file format. And detect that way. In the event of an exploit in the wild, we'll give specific information about the exploit. So that'll help block the exploit, the specific exploit or variants of the exploit.
Right, so that helps signature creation on the back end, the kind of technical information that helps that signature creation. In addition to that, your security religion includes technological advancements in the form of exploit mitigation, sandboxing. Talk a little bit about what the sandbox is, what the concept was, how you went around building it, And maybe, the sample size might be small, but do you have any data to share that it's starting to make a difference?
Absolutely. Sure, yeah. So protected mode in Adobe Reader was introduced in October of last year. And it was a big effort. We got help from a variety of sources. We brought in third parties to help us test it. We got help from Microsoft in the form of the Office team and from Google, the Chrome team. The technologies that they implemented in Office 2010 and Google Chrome respectively. So they were a real help in developing protected mode for Reader. So it's another.
So it's designed based on how you borrowed some design
That's right.
components from
That's
them?
right,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, and it's another layer of defense, basically, that can be applied for Reader. We just extended it to Acrobat as well in just this past Tuesday. So basically, yeah, another layer of defense. We do things like opt in to DAP and ASLR. We basically do as much as we can to make sure that the product is secure. The sandboxing or protected mode is just another example of that, and we don't see it as a silver bullet, but it's something that's definitely helped. As you say, it's small sample size,
Right.
but we haven't seen any exploitation that bypasses the sandbox to this point.
Or do you have any plans to do any sort of isolation in Flash and
So
Shockwave?
actually,
and
we have sandboxing for Flash Player in Google Chrome already.
Right.
So that
And that
that's a
piggybacks on
collaborative
their
effort.
sandboxing
Exactly.
component, right?
Right, and we also have Flash Player in Internet Explorer. It's a 7 and up.
Plugs into their protected mode, right?
Exactly, protected mode. Yeah.
But for other users like me on Firefox, for instance.
Yeah. So it's an evolving process, and we're looking at all our options basically.
Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan.
And thank you for watching another edition of Lab Matters, a webcast from Kaspersky Lab. You can check out some other webcasts at youtube.com/Kaspersky.